How to be a consultant with no business degree and very little consulting experience. I am really ashamed to say that I didn't even know what consulting was till the third year of my university. So today we're going to go through all the ups and the downs of my career journey. And in this video, we're going to cover all my experience prior to Deloitte. And in the next video, the exact steps that I took to land a role at Deloitte. Now, I want to share back all the mistakes that I made so that you don't. And if you're interested in more content like this, please do subscribe to my channel. And please don't forget to hit the like button on this video so that others can see this too. And make sure you grab some tea because this is going to be a very chatty get to know me. So I didn't study economics or management at university. Neither did I do an MBA or a master's. All I did know was that I loved to solve problems and I used that to jump into a career which allowed me to do that. But let's go back a bit. So I decided to do physics at Imperial College London because I loved solving problems. And Imperial is really known to be a science and engineering university, as well as known for having no girls, by the way. But when I started Imperial, I had just completed JP Morgan's Winning Women program, and that allowed me to have an insight into trading, into investment banking, and I hated it. I knew I did not want to be a trader, or I didn't want to read financial markets day in and day out, and I'm pretty sure I hurt my dad's heart when I said that. But I went into Imperial having no clue what I wanted to do. And in my family, there have been accountants, bankers, doctors, and I decided that, okay, banking isn't for me, but let me try accounting. So when I joined Imperial, I did so many insight weeks and insight days in my first year. I applied left, right, and center and ended up doing JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citi, EY, and so many more. And the reason I did that was because I knew that I needed to add some value to my CV and show to other people that actually I want to take initiative. So I did it in banking and accounting. Banking, again, just to add some stuff to my CV as a backup. Being the keynote I was, in my first year, I wanted to get an internship. And it's pretty difficult to get an internship in your first year. Applications usually try and get second years or third years to do, intern placements. So I wanted to use my network. Now, I went through my network, I ravaged it, and I somehow found my mum's friend's friend, uncle, which got me an internship in an accounting firm for the summer. So lesson number one, everyone, networking, guys. Use your network. You will find an opportunity somewhere in your network, so don't give up. But I came out of that internship as clueless as I was going in. I absolutely hated it. So here I am with banking is a no-go, accounting is a no-go, and I had no clue what I wanted to do even at the end of my first year of university. But my lesson to you guys, number two, is keep your options really open in your first year. Try as much as you can do. It might be marketing, it might be finance, and everything. Try it out before you narrow it down. And the same advice I would give if you're starting a new job, try out different projects in your new job as well. Now, second year was honestly a waste of time for me. And honestly, I did not grow or I did not do anything awesome in my second year. I made no achievements except for passing my second year. And you'd think that having started uni on this vibe in my first year, all the stars would align and I have all my internships sorted. Actually, I ended up getting really lost and really distracted by university social life, by university boys and university friends. I mean, it happens to all of us. You have to go through it. It was a big mistake. And I realized that actually my time is valuable and I was spending it on other people than actually spending it on myself. Your university degree and your experience you get at university is really critical for you to land your first job and hence can really help you get a really smooth career after you land your first job. So I am still shocked to this day that I did this because at 13, I was that girl who was selling sweets at school. At 17, I was that girl making jewelry businesses on Instagram and failed. And I worked my butt off to get into Oxford Unique Summer School, into a Winning Women program at JP Morgan and so forth. But all was not lost because I met this inspirational guy in my second year, at the end of my second year, called Hakeem. Shout out Hakeem, you saved my life. And basically, he put me into the whole startup scene, into the entrepreneurship life, and he really pulled me out of this bubble that I was in my second year. And I ended up co-founding a startup with him. And that's my second lesson for all of you listening. Find a tribe of people who have the same motivations, same goals, systems as you, who can support you when you're down, who can be there to give you honest feedback, and who you can practice stuff with as well. These people will help inspire you, help you grow, and really push you to become a better you. And it sounds really cringe, but this is so important in your university degree and throughout your whole life as well. Finding your tribe of people is so important. Third year, and I was adamant that I was going to become an entrepreneur, have so many startups under my belt, and make some serious bucks. I ended up volunteering for Techstars, which is this UK accelerator program, and also entered the Startup Weekend competition, happens every year. We actually ended up winning it with a home STI kit idea. But guys, the name was so cringe. We called it Bank Check, okay? Yes, you can roast me in the comments, I definitely deserve it. But being so embedded in the startup culture, I knew that I didn't want to do a corporate job at that point of time. And that meant that in my third year, when internships started to open, that whole cycle from October to January, I did not apply for a single internship during that time. And this is one of the biggest regrets I have to this date, is that I didn't have a backup option. Now that's my lesson to all of you, is that have a plan B if plan A fails. What career are you going to go into if your options fail for your first career? Make sure you have a backup option. And I didn't really realize that my startups were going to fail probably a few months later down the line, around January, when then I realized like, oh shit, I don't have anything else to do. And the problem with us was that we couldn't acquire customers and we couldn't keep them loyal. So I thought to myself, how do I learn this? Where can I learn to execute a business idea properly? And surprise, surprise, it was a corporate job. So I ended up having a mission that I would go to a real company, learn how to run a business properly, and leave it and take it away to start my own thing a few years down the line. Guys, my journey is seriously like a roller coaster. So then I started going to career festivals and eventually heard about consulting. And I was very late to the game. Do not do what I did, guys. Do not do what I did. So bear in mind, I was coming towards the end of my third year and I was a few months away from graduating and I had 0 internship experience on my CV. And at this point, I had really heard that you need education, you need extracurricular activities and experience to land you a job. And I was pretty average on my education. I was okay at extracurricular activities and very meh at my experience. But I was bloody well determined to get the job and I came up with a plan. The first thing that I needed to do was confirm that I was actually going to like consulting, because otherwise I was going to waste another 3 years of my life. Can you imagine? I started reaching out to people left, right and center on LinkedIn, trying to understand from them what consulting is really like and validate that I would actually get all the skills that I need to eventually go down the line and start up my own business. Okay, so now I was determined and I really wanted to get into consulting. But how do I prove to the recruiter that although I'm 3 years down the line, I still have as much of a passion for consulting as everyone else? And I had this fire inside my belly to prove that. Now, I do want to say at this point is that you don't need to know that consulting is for you when you join university. I didn't. But what I did do was I weaved a story, I linked all my experiences together and showed to the recruiter that actually this is my journey to know that I want to get into consulting and it is a perfect fit for me. Okay, so continuing on my journey, I knew that I couldn't find any experiences in consulting especially. So what I had to do was find transferable skills for consulting. And that's when I applied to a few roles and these were the sloppy seconds which no one really wanted. And I ended up somehow going into Jaguar Land Rover to do a purchasing role, but ended up making that role and moving to another team in that role to do actually some strategy consulting work where I ended up basically creating new features for their 2030 connected car. And the same thing with BAE Systems, ended up being a much more analytical role, made it a business consulting, operations consulting role for myself. And that's my fourth lesson for all of you. Don't wait for you to get the opportunities. Find the opportunities wherever you are and create your own destiny. Don't wait for those opportunities to come to you. If you're not learning, if you're not growing, if you're not interested in it, find the opportunities that help you grow and help you be pushed. Okay, so this is Feb 2016. I didn't have any consulting experiences in a consulting firm on my CV, but there were a couple of handful of roles open. It was like Deloitte and PwC, technology consulting, where they didn't really reach all their quota or they didn't find the people that they needed. So I applied sometime around March, by the way, and the only roles that were open were tech consulting roles in these firms. I applied to both and got both. And the reason I decided to take them on was because actually I could wait for a year to apply for strat consulting roles and then only start it a year later, so that's 2 years wasted. Or I could get my foot into the door already, get 2 years worth of experience under my belt. I think that's pretty clear what I should have done, and I think I made the right choice. I ended up moving around different parts of Deloitte, and I'll share that in another video. But in next week's video, I am going to go through exactly what I think you should do to land your job in consulting, a step-by-step guide to do that. And I do want to leave you guys with one message. You may not have it all figured out at this point. You may have it, but having a lack of internships, not having enough experience or the right education, you can always make the best of a bad situation. Find how you can do that, create your own opportunities. And don't feel like you've got to get a job in consulting as your first job. You can always switch down the line. And if you're listening, thank you all so much. Don't give up, believe in yourself, and please do give this video a big thumbs up. And please do leave me a comment on what you thought of my journey, as well as share your journey in the comment box below. See you next week.